So we're in the next section of my book, What Works When Diets Don't. We are still in the very important introduction, and we're going to get right into chapter 1 in just a minute. If you're watching this on YouTube or Rumble, the video casting, make sure to go back and watch every single episode because it all flows together. It all makes sense as we unpack this important topic. It's ironic. We have more fitness centers, personal trainers, books, journals, and articles. I would add podcasts written about fitness than ever before. Yet, health-related illnesses and problems caused by obesity are increasing at an alarming rate, and that's an understatement. The state of our society's health, will not improve unless we address what we need to hear instead of what we want to hear, okay? That's why I put this whole book together, What Works When Diets Don't, in 2001. And then I revised it about 3 or 4 years ago. And now we're putting it on audio, which is actually going to include a lot more new stuff. So it's probably going to be, the whole audio version is going to be definitely longer than the book. The reason I'm showing you the book and reminding you if you're listening to this on Audible is you can actually download it for free right now at our church website, westsidechristianfellowship.org, westsidechristianfellowship.org, and you can jump right on this stuff if you're more of a reader than a listener. In general, the word diet simply refers to an eating program. So in the truest sense, we're all on a diet. If your physician were to ask you, what does your current diet consist of? They would be asking you your current eating habits. The term diet referred to in the title and throughout the pages of this book, actually the audiobook, however, refers to America's obsession with fad diets and quick weight loss promises. We've got all those, even now, with Ozempic, and different things that slow down hunger and things that will prove, I think, one day to be not very healthy. So I offer thanks to those few in the diet industry whose diet programs focus on health, vitality, education, moderation, sensible eating, and long-term success. But to the others who are part of the problem in creating this diet craze, I encourage serious consideration of your responsibility, not only to those suffering from obesity, but to the next generation as well. Look at what we're doing to our kids. And as you know, if you're listening to this, I just spoke, on the last portion here about dieting and weight loss. And if you're listening to the video cast, you want to go back and listen to the very first one we released because a diet is a short-term experience, and a short-term experience cannot solve a long-term problem. So if I say, okay, I'm going to go on a 30, even a 60-day diet. I'm going to do this. Okay, you get down, you lose some weight. You have to remember your metabolic rate is probably slowed down because you don't weigh as much. What kind of diet did you do? Did you lose some muscle mass, which now means you can't eat as many calories as you once did? And we have the yo-yo effect. The yo-yo effect was born because of the diet industry. And I also mentioned something in the past episode that where I said it is coming around, and I still agree with energy in, energy out. I mean, if we're consuming too much energy, we are going to store it. I mean, that's pretty much how it works. Now, you'll hear a lot of talk about macros. Macros, it's just short for macronutrients, which is short for fat, carbohydrates, and protein. And so when people talk about, are you getting your macros in, your macros, that's what they're talking about. And you'll hear a lot of people talking about, it's not about counting calories. And I tend to agree. You don't want to get into a calorie counting regimen. I mean, because whatever you use, this will be key. Whatever you use to lose the weight is what it's going to, you're going to need to maintain that to keep the weight off. So whatever it takes to lose the weight, you're going to have to use that same method or something, close to that, for keeping the weight off. So that's why we talk about lifestyle changes. There's ups and downs. I've been on them all my life, but you can get back on track. And it's really about making a lot more right decisions than wrong decisions. But my point was, it's not just about calories because, you can, well, let's just take, the big news right now that's been the last couple of years is insulin, right? Insulin is a hormone. And what it does, it's kind of opposite of glucagon, and that's what Ozempic affects. Glucagon, it's suppresses the hunger. So the insulin, when I eat a lot of carbohydrates, or most of you, and that's why diabetes type 2 is on the rise, and that's why insulin and keto and carnivore and all this is really big, because insulin is a fat storage hormone. I mean, I wouldn't really define it as that, but what it does is it really, the hormone response to your body, it actually, if I'm not mistaken, it encourages all your cells to slow down a little bit. And your metabolic rate is possibly even slowed down. And this insulin now causes your body to hold on to this energy. So think of insulin as wanting your body to hold on to your storage, which we don't want. And so that's why there's a lot of, diets out there focused on lowering insulin. Fasting is really good. Maybe I'll get into that. I wrote a book, actually, Feasting and Fasting. Feasting and Fasting. You can find this on the church website for free as well. What works, what doesn't, and why. You can jump right on that. I go into a lot more detail with intermittent fasting, OMAD, 1 meal a day, time-restricted feeding, prolonged fasting, some of the success that Walter Longo is having here in my area of Los Angeles with fasting mimicking diets. And those are all useful tools, but the downside to fasting is if you don't do it right, you can really lose a lot of muscle mass, especially as we get older. It's even more important. And I remember I have a picture, it's not on the internet, I don't think. But when I was 30 years old, let's say 20, 23, 24 years ago, and I weigh the exact same as I did then. However, I look like a mini Arnold Schwarzenegger. I've got, probably 8% body fat, just muscles and biceps and chest. And now you're like, wow, I lost a lot of muscle. I weigh the same. So I must have lost 20 pounds of muscle, 25 pounds of muscle. Some of that's probably due to fasting. Some of that's due to aging. I don't know the exact percentage, what you lose per year, but that's just the way it works. So always remember that with dieting. What it takes to lose weight is what it's going to take to keep it off. It has to be a lifestyle. And you can experiment with different things. I think that's why people get confused. Well, I'm a keto or carnivore. I don't know what to do. Experiment with what works for you. And I always say, take it to the Lord in prayer. God directs us. You cannot go wrong by eating a lot of vegetables. There's people out there like Dr. Joel Fuhrman, who makes a compelling case, and other doctors, Alan Goldhammer and others, where you can eat a lot of vegetables. And I've tried it and it works. As long as you don't have a lot of, oil and sugar, but like just huge salads, beans on it, and just, as much cucumbers as you want, tomatoes, even some fruit. And you can never really gain weight by following that type of program. However, it is pretty hard because, you're pretty much limited to that, but it might be a good jump start. Others say, and I can see what they're saying, it's really hard to gain a lot of weight on a lot of protein. So you don't see a lot of people gaining weight, a lot of chicken breasts, a lot of eggs, they gain weight. They usually gain the weight from the carbohydrates and the fat. That's really where the weight comes from. Again, with insulin, and then fat is actually double the calories of carbohydrates and protein. So you have to be strategic. We're going to get into some of that in the book. I already talked about that earlier. Whole God-given foods in moderation and increasing exercise, and you'll be well on your way to reaching your goal. And of course, you can get technical. You can find it online, calorie calculator. And again, I want to make counting calories not the answer, but I'm amazed at how many people think they're eating 2,000, 2,200 calories, and they're actually over 3,000. So if we understand, that banana has 140 calories, that piece of bread has a lot of sugar in it and 120 calories. My ketchup has a lot of sugar. My organic jelly has a lot of sugar. If I add this up and the snacks of you grab a handful of nuts, you're over 300 calories. And so they really add up. So what it does, it teaches us, okay, for me to maintain my weight, I'd probably need to eat around 2,800 calories a day to maintain. So if I'm trying to lose some weight, I'm going to hang around 2,000. I have to monitor, just like monitoring my checking account. Now, if you want to get really hardcore, I recommend a book before. I don't have the title in front of me. You can find it online. Dr. Paul Brillhart, and it's Fasting in a Gluttonous World. I believe that's it, Fasting. And he did tons of research and actually helped a lot of patients eat around 500-600 calories a day for an extended period of time. pretty high in protein. And so their body actually adapted to a ketogenic approach. So they begin to burn ketone bodies. So they begin to convert their fat to fuel, and they stayed satisfied, and they lost a good deal of weight. I think that way of doing it is fine. Again, depending, if you got to drop 50 pounds, you got high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, you got to make some drastic changes. Now, you have to have a plan, though, when you come off of that. Your metabolic rate is not going to go down to zero, but you can't eat like you used to eat. And as I get older, I can't eat like I used to eat. I remember, man, I would pack in 6,000 to 8,000 calories when I was bodybuilding and taking some PEDs, performance enhancing drugs. That's really big right now, PEDs, and then HRT, hormone replacement therapy, and the TRT, testosterone replacement therapy for men. And with all that, if you can avoid it, I would avoid it. I would do things a natural way when possible. But let me just cover this real quick so you know what we're going to talk about going forward. 8 steps to success. 8 steps to success. In my younger years, I was a manager and a corporate executive, which I've shared before, but might be good to repeat it for those just listening for the first time, in Southern California for the fastest growing fitness company in the world. At that time, it was 24-hour fitness. I was actually with Family Fitness Centers, and we merged with 24-hour Nautilus and became 24-hour fitness centers. And that, I don't think 24-hour fitness is doing too well today. Lots of competition. And so because of this, I oversaw training departments. I oversaw supplements. I did a lot of research with the National Academy of Sports Medicine, and I watched people, thousands and thousands of people come in. Some clearly lost weight, but I would say the vast majority, and I've been there so I can laugh, the vast majority, they never changed. It was more of just a habit. Because what happened, people don't realize exercise is good. We're going to talk a lot more about that, but food intake and the type of food intake, you really want to tilt the scale in your favor. It's food intake. It's the type of food you're eating, how many calories you're eating, when you're eating it. Are these nutrient-dense foods that can be absorbed by the body? Are they junk food? So you're not getting good sleep, you're putting on weight. And so most people in the gym did not lose weight at all. They looked the same. And the reason was, I would say 9 times out of 10, they were just consuming too much energy. And what we do, I did this too. Oh, I went to the gym. Now I can have that big bowl of ice cream. I went to the gym. Now I can grab that chocolate muffin. I went to the gym. Now I could overeat. And really the working out, I don't go to the gym anymore. I do stuff at home and then outside. That should complement a healthy diet. The healthy diet, I would say what you put in, probably 80% in my opinion. Because you can actually lose weight by altering your diet and not even exercise whatsoever. Now you want to do at least some push-ups, some things that you can keep your muscles working, because muscle depletes when it's not being utilized. And what builds muscle is to strain it, to put tension upon it that it's not used to actually put loads on it that it's not used to. So if I'm doing bicep curls, I'm tearing down that muscle fiber. And then when I sleep and when I eat, that's when it repairs itself. But the 8 steps to success, here's what I uncovered. So time and time again, those who were fit rarely, if ever, refer to dieting. Now, they had a clean diet. They did certain things, but they never said they rarely said I'm on a diet. If they were, fit people. And I oversaw hundreds of trainers over the year. A lot of these people, and genetics does play a role. I will tell you that for sure. In a small portion of a small amount of people, they would not eat real well. Their training wasn't any different than mine or anyone else's. And they look like, a GQ model, 8% body fat. Some of the people I know went into, CrossFit games, later on in life. And they were just built that way. And then God-given genetics. And even if you look at a lot of the bodybuilding, back when I was into it, it was Ronnie Coleman, Dorian Yates. Probably one of the best physiques I remember was Flex Wheeler. And if you look at pictures, even younger, these guys had full muscle bellies. The proportion of everything was just, their genetics were designed to store a lot of muscle and not too much fat. And so they go into bodybuilding. you take these performance enhancing drugs, you're going to explode. So I'd say pretty much anybody in the Olympia. It takes a lot of hard work. But most of those people are genetically gifted as well. So genetics play a role. Like I often say, genetics load the gun, but your lifestyle will pull the trigger. So here's what I observed from watching all these people, what I put down in the book, and what we're going to talk about. 8 steps that promote lasting results. Number 1, choosing to change from the inside out. Choosing to change from the inside out. And this is it goes to what I just said earlier. You really have to change the mindset of, okay, when January 1st is here, I'm going to get on this diet. And by March, I'm going to get on this diet for summer. And we know June's already here. And how can I get my body ready for summer? We shouldn't be, especially as believers, as Christians, I don't even think like that. I don't try to get my body ready for summer, because I usually don't, take off my shirt, and I don't have a great 6-pack and things like that. So, it's like I did those things earlier in my year, very selfish, self-focused. But it's about living a very productive, energetic life and feeling well so you can serve others and your family and serve God. And so that should be a lifelong goal. Again, there's ups and downs. I've eaten things I shouldn't eaten, and I've lost sleep. And actually last night I got up at 2:15 this morning. So 5 hours of sleep is not what I had in mind, but it is what it is. So choosing to change from the inside out. It's a step. I would even take it to the Lord in prayer and say, Lord, I need help in this area. I'm going to really change. And look at, what am I leaving my kids, my grandkids? Why are young kids getting obese now? Why is a 5 or 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12-year-old obese? And that falls directly upon our shoulders, and more specifically, our refrigerator and our pantry, what we're putting in there. Snacking is not good. Eating whenever they want is not good. Having all these processed foods, you've got out of sight, out of mind. Redo the pantry. It's worth it. And I know well, Shane, it costs a lot more. Yeah, but you're spending $300 at Starbucks or what's the new place? Dutch Brothers. Or, and so if we look where we're spending our money, we have that money. Now, those who truly don't, there are ways around it. Buy some organic beans, a big bag, some clean meat. You can look for certain deals, and I'll get into that later. But you have to, it can't be a 3-month commitment. It can't be, let me try this out. You can try out, keto. You can try out plant-based. You can do the Daniel. You can add some milk and dairy in there. And maybe if you're joining late, I mentioned this earlier on, but I go by a biblical model. So when the Bible talks about, and God said, "Now I give you the animals to consume," obviously without the blood and fat and things. Now they are food for you. So I'm not one of those when it comes to meat and dairy and whole foods. Man, there are. It gets explosive. I've got some pretty mean emails before, but a lot of these people, they're worshiping Mother Earth. They're so concerned about, it can become actually a religion and cultish. Whole foods can become that way for sure. But then carnivore and animal can become very extreme too. So biblically speaking, looks like God allows food. I just read this morning. I'm glad I remembered. Isaiah, I think it was 8, when it says, "This will be a sign to you, a virgin shall be born." And then it says, "He will eat curds and honey." Okay, well, curds is the fat of dairy. And then also it keeps going in Isaiah when God blesses a land and they have the abundance of sheep and cows, it says that they will have an excess of curds and honey. And so we see that they ate curds and honey throughout the Bible. We saw that they ate meat throughout the Bible. Jesus ate meat. The prophets ate meat. And so I can't draw a hard line with that. But what I can say is most people listening, if you do have meat and dairy, you're having too much. And if you're overweight, if your inflammation is high, type 2 diabetes, and you're putting in meat and dairy that's unclean, it's explosive. It's not good for your body. So that's why when people switch over to whole plant-based, remove the salts and the oils and the sugars, I feel so much better. Many times it's not necessarily because of clean meat or clean dairy. It's because they removed all the junk and they're just focused on good God-given food. However, with that said, I think, and if you study, who was I just listened to? Dr. Gabriella Lyons on the importance of protein. And as I see, as I get older, I'm looking at, following these podcasts and things. I'm like, well, I definitely don't get enough protein in because I'm, lots of fruits and vegetables. And I can tell, the body. So that's my dilemma. Like as I get older, I mean, muscular health and muscle development is so important as you get older. I mean, that's probably one of the key things for elderly people is muscle mass. However, you see a lot of people that live long years. They're often very thin. And so you will see some healthy people from, I don't want to keep naming names, that are older, in their 80s, health professionals that they're just whole plant-based foods. Even the Seventh-day Adventists down in my area, I forget, in Southern California, they eat very clean. And so if somebody wants, I think it's between you and the Lord. I just don't like to tell people that, what to do. If I do have meat and dairy, I might have some raw organic goat milk, have a few eggs with Ezekiel bread to make some French toast with some flaxseed and a little MCT oil on it, trying to get real healthy. And so my thought would be eat as much plants as possible, big salads, things. And if you want to have the meat shouldn't be the priority. And what I found too is if I eat more meat and dairy, it actually does take the place of the plants. For example, if let's say I have some eggs and some Ezekiel bread, okay, an avocado, I'm kind of full. And I chose to eat that instead of a huge big salad with, say, some black beans, which are fairly high in protein. So you need to be strategic. It takes time. And as I go through this book, hopefully you'll learn more. So choosing to change from the inside out is key. Wisdom. Number two, 8 steps to promote lasting results. Wisdom. What you don't know can hurt you. What you don't know can hurt you. And we're going to go through some things that you need to know. Reading food labels is so important. Like refined oils that are causing a lot of damage in the body, processed ingredients. I think of partially hydrogenated oils, MSG, food coloring, additives. I was so frustrated. I'm not going to say the store. It's a major chain. And I think it was gummy bears or those pops you freeze for your kids. It look like real fruit juice. Like, oh, okay, low calorie. And I went and the box said inspired by real fruit juice. Inspired, this big, I'm like, oh, well, and I looked at the ingredients. I'm like corn syrup and sugar, food coloring. I'm like, those sneaky little guys, man, they are sneaky. And that's what it kind of took me a while to, I showed my wife over the years. She would just see, natural and bring it home. Or, even organic Doritos, which, I don't know, it's better than Doritos, but, not that great. But, whole food, all natural, whatever, low fat. And we have to learn that really you don't want many ingredients at all. You just want, it should say eggs, it should say an orange, it should say an apple, it should say salad, it's really important. So you have to use wisdom. You have to be strategic, even on stuff we put on our body, deodorant. Forever chemicals are pretty big, plastic, makeup. A lot of makeup that you think is healthy is not healthy. Do barcode searches. Look at the ingredients. If it's got 30 ingredients that you can't pronounce, remember our skin is actually an organ that absorbs. And so you can, think about if you put a testosterone patch, you're going to feel the testosterone in your body. You get the gel for testosterone, you're going to feel the testosterone in your body. You start to put even the sunscreen that's not healthy. Those chemicals will be absorbed in the body. So wisdom is so important. We're going to get into that. Number 3, the pain of discipline versus the pain of regret. That's always helped me. Yeah, discipline hurts, man, but so does regret. So we have to choose the pain of discipline over the pain of regret. And I've seen more and more in the diet industry, they're like, you don't have to worry about, calories. You don't have to worry about exercise. You don't have to no, you do have to be disciplined. Discipline is a biblical principle. Perseverance is a biblical principle. Commitment is a biblical principle. Fighting for things that are worth fighting for is a biblical principle. So don't believe all the hype and false hope. We're going to have to get back to the pain of discipline over the pain of regret. Number 4, prepare to succeed. Prepare to succeed. So we have to set and achieve realistic goals. That's the key. Set and achieve realistic goals. Number 5, make the right choice. You make a choice, then that choice makes you. And that's when we'll talk probably a little bit more about food, exercise. Number 6, prioritize your life first. Things first. Okay, this is huge. Prioritize your life. This has probably been one of the biggest changes in my life. So I get up in the morning, this morning 2:15, but normally say, 3:30, 4:30. I get up, got my time to spend with God for about 3 hours in the Word, just writing down, journaling, working on my sermons. And then usually, hopefully around 7:30 at home, just get my workout in quick. So I don't drive anywhere. The environment is controlled. I've got great worship on. I might go take a walk out in the desert. Some of you see my videos to get some cardio in, but usually that's done. It's out of the way. I can move on, and I've got the rest of my day, 9 till 6 every day. Can't happen on Sundays, but that's my off day for exercise. Number 7, how to create lasting change. How do you maintain your results? Okay, we have results. How do we maintain them? And then step number 8, the incredible power of fasting. The incredible power of fasting. So I'm excited to dig into these topics as we move forward in this book.